young soldier of God, steady march.
So I'm Angel Taylor and I'm from Rotorua, born in Whakatane, whakapapa from Waipiro Bay, Tolaga Bay, Ngāti Porou, all the way up to Kennedy Bay, Coromandel, and yeah.
Well, can you tell me about your parents at all?
So it's a bit of a long story. So I was whāngai to my dad, hence why the last name Taylor. And yeah, so I've pretty much been with him and my mum since I was going on 3 months old. But in regards to my real dad, he is a Niuean, full Niuean, and my biological mother, she is Russian Māori. So yeah, but my parents that I grew up with, yeah, definitely Te Arawa. So I grew up in Rotorua, Ōwhata, which is close to, pretty much out by the airport in Rotorua. There was only 3 houses up on my farm, and there was me and my parents, there was our great koro's house, and we also had my uncle's house who lived a paddock next door. So my uncle was definitely mongrel mob Rotorua. He was everything to me. He taught me a lot of things growing up, taught me how to ride a horse, ride a dirt bike. My parents were good, but I think growing up into a young teenager, you start to get rebellious and things start to change, and the whole gang life, the whole lifestyle and just the normality of it was hard to sort of break out of as I got older. To be honest, I didn't know any different. So it wasn't until I started getting older, realizing that going to court all the time and doing drugs all the time and, stealing cars, doing everything under the sun kind of was hindering me. Like, I realized that I couldn't do certain things because I had gotten myself into too much trouble. I can't say that 100% of the time, growing up in a gang lifestyle was bad, because I still have family and friends that are still in the gang life and we love each other, no matter what. But for myself personally, I'm a wahine. I'm not a male. I'm not a guy or a tani, like I'm a wahine who has dreams and goals. And I believe that those dreams and goals just I wasn't able to really get a good chance to have a good look into them because of the lifestyle that I was used to. Yeah, and just in regards to the gang side of things, like I've got nothing against them. It's just more of a choice, something that works better for me, and me and my children. So, yeah.
Well, so how many children do you have?
I have 4. I do have 5 actually. I have my daughter. Her name is Riley. She's buried with my nan and koro out Rotorua at Ohaki Marae. Yeah, so she would be 15 now. So I was 7 months pregnant when I was, just going on 7 months with her, and I ended up losing her just due to drug use and stupid decisions and stuff. But I have 4 children here with me, and they are 20, 19, 11, and 9, and I'm now a grandmother. And her name is Leilani. She is nearly 6 months old. So yeah, and I just turned 37. Oh gosh. It was challenging because although my name is Angel, social media and everyone knows me as Angel, but my dad called me Candy, you know, and so growing up with the name Candy Taylor, I was constantly bullied because of my name. And I used to mentally, not that I didn't really actually know this at the time, but like now that I'm an adult, you can look back and you can see how much it affected me with kids calling me names, boys always chasing me and all that kind of stuff. Maybe it was the generation, but however, it still did a lot of damages. And being pretty, it was, and naive, it's a bad combination. And if you're not really looked after, I'm not saying my parents didn't look after me, it was just to define what family was for me was quite difficult because I knew that they weren't my real parents. And I didn't know my real parents at the time. So there was a lot of identity crisis is what I can say in regards to just knowing myself and that. But all I ever wanted was to just have family and friends and stuff like that. So, but because when I was 6 years old when we finally moved out to our farm, our Rotorua, up Pukepoto, he became like like an uncle to me all the time because every day of my childhood I was on my farm. He was there too, and although he was mongrel mob, like he was so good to me. Always, there was nothing really scary that I saw apart from us kids, like his actual nieces and nephews and kids and stuff that, we were just farm kids. We were always on the bikes, always on the horses. His second eldest son really is like my big brother, and he's always looked out for me. So yeah, and I remember before he passed away in 2019, he like we got to share about what it was like for me growing up, in that whole scenery and stuff, and there were some things there that he didn't know about that I did tell him about. So they had our whānau had a bit of a falling out, and the falling out ended up leading me and my parents to leaving our farm, renting it out to other family, and my parents moved into town. But this falling out ended up getting quite ugly to a point where I felt like I needed to do something, because by the time that was when I was 13, and by the time I was 13 I was already sexually active. I was already smoking drugs, smoking everything, drinking, driving, and I ended up with a chapter of the mob that ended up having me for like a couple of weeks. And there's rumors going around saying, yeah, Candace got, she got gangbanged and blocked, she got the block. I didn't get that, but to be forced to have sex with the prayers of that chapter and his wife, it's sick. And that was only so they would leave my family alone. When I was sharing that with my uncle, he was so sorry that that it happened to me, and he had, and I was like, it's okay, like I'm healed from that now, and just if you want to live, you've got to be willing to heal, and forgive and just move on. So before he passed away, we got to talk about these things, and he just said to me, he goes, you know what, bub, you've grown up to be a beautiful wahine, and I couldn't be more proud. And it made me cry because we were sitting in the car and we were a little bit wasted. And I was like, straight up, Uncle Phil was wretched, you know, and yeah, so I can't say that just because he was in the mob, I had a hard upbringing. It was more so just our own hood. Our hood, our Rotorua, out the east side, and if you're from the east side, y'all know. Hey, it's real. It is Manga Mob. It ain't nothing else. Yeah. It took me a long time to love myself genuinely and understanding what it meant to be about loving myself first. For years, I had suffered with not only being a runaway child and feeling neglected and feeling rejected in every single way, on top of that sexual abuse, but you know, I suffered from just being easy, you know, easy to fall in love, easy to end up with the next guy and the next guy and the next guy. And after a while, you know, it was killing me inside, because no guys would love me like how I love them. And so it caused a lot of unstable relationships, becoming a teen mom. I had 2 sons by the time I was 17. No regrets for them, but if I was to maybe be nurtured a little bit more extra and got given a bit more understanding, I might have been able to curve for a couple of those things that I ended up going through myself, you know. So, but that's bringing no shame upon my parents or my family, you know. Everyone has their own lives and stuff, and I'm just glad I made it. Yeah. So I first started smoking meth when I was 14. I tried it with a couple old school gangsters from back home, and to be honest, it was more like, you know, like I didn't know what I was doing, but I was so already like independent and you know, out there doing my own thing, didn't go home, and it was kind of like my parents gave up on me. But with smoking meth since then, I ended up smoking, you know, like smoking it with people right up until I found out I was pregnant at 15. And then, yeah, got into a relationship and then stayed in that, had 2 kids, got out of that by the time I was 18. And once I got single, that was me. Back on crack, back on meth, and I basically stayed on meth every single day until I was 26, 25, yeah. And you can imagine everything that would go on in those years of smoking it after getting out of a violent relationship. It was tough, but at the same time, I look back at it now and I think I was a troubled teenager. I was mentally troubled. I had no stability. I had no boundaries. I just didn't get enough love, you know, or enough understanding. And although, you know, our old school generations are so different, you know, like they're like, you know, watch and learn, you know. So it you know, no affection but realistically, for someone like myself that went through the things I've been through since a child, man, affection was definitely needed, you know. Yeah. Come 2009, I got to a point where I was getting sentenced to jail. I had over 20 convictions flying at me from just, none of them are drug or alcohol related. They were just more so driving, ran over a police, like GBH, all the violent ones, yeah, like that. Nah. But like, so I'm facing jail, so I'm running. I'm on the run. I go from region to region. I'm like, yeah, I'm all over the place. And then on top of that, I was also managing to carry lifetime traumas to having to deal with today's situation and trying to function as this one person. So my thing was always being happy, always laughing, smoking meth because it made me happy. I was awake for too long, and now I have to go to Specsavers. Like, there was just so many things that I had to carry in regards to myself with being a traumatized person to someone that just wanted to love and care about others at the same time, and also be a mum. So it was hard to actually collaborate with. So I got to a point in 2009, I ended up just giving up, just like, that's it, like this is it, and so that's where my testimony came about, and ended up sharing that eventually. But in 2009 is when I actually changed my life around, and I went away for 10 years. And I done so good. I went cold turkey. I done it, and yeah, the withdrawals, yeah, not even that bad. Not even that bad. So, when I look back at it, I ended up leaving Rotorua and I went to Tauranga, and just basically, I called out to God. That's what I did. Because there was nothing else in this world that was actually like pulling through for me. Like I couldn't go to. I don't believe in an elephant with 100 human arms. Like I never done horoscopes because my friends were the exact living example of why it don't work. I won't say 100% of the time I was innocent with all the things I've been through, but yeah, I would say a good 96%. Because, yeah, a traumatized child does definitely have revenge and retaliation issues flying at, and defense mechanisms and stuff like that that you grow into as you get older. So, yeah, I definitely own my mistakes and own the things that I've done wrong. So, yeah, it's just so much to really sort of jot down into one conversation, because it's kind of like nothing stopped, nothing really stopped. So from the moment I was born, my real mother and real father have a one-night stand, and then that becomes a fling, and you can imagine that in the 80s. It's just like way too much pills, way too much freaking 80s fun. Like, that stuff is crazy. So, and then 3 weeks after she loses me for being an unfit mother, I have no idea who my real dad is, up until 5 years ago. I met him 5 years ago. Yeah. I met her when I was like 12, eventually. So for me, that was one of the biggest things I wanted to, so to get to know him. And I realized he's got like 18, 19 children, something like that. Heaps anyway. And most of us are all girls. I've only got 2 brothers, and I'm the 4th oldest. And I've met a couple of my sisters already. I'm real close with one of them now, which is really beautiful. But it's funny because they've got their own stories as well to share about our real dad. Yeah, not at all. Like, I have my nan and the old school, oh, gonna go to church, you know, hurry up, himene. You know, like that buzz. And I got aunties and uncles that all believe in, like, when there was church, and then there was family, and then there was no God. There was no Jesus kind of extra to really make me believe in any of that. I just believe that that's just my auntie and uncle. That's just them. But from then, my relationship with the Lord was good. So, like, before I went to court that time with Judge Bidwa, I was at a point where I gave up on I gave up. I had no real friends, no real family. My kids were at my parents. Like, everything was, I basically wrecked my life so much that it's my life and I couldn't even fix it. And that became embarrassing. So I got to a point where I just gave up and started looking at people, and so my belief in horoscopes and all these other things, I was just like, it's not cutting it. There's got to be something else. There's got to be. So I'm looking at human beings and just starting, and this is just in my spirit kind of way. You know, when you daydream and, like, you could have your eyes wide open and you're daydreaming about something else. It was like that. And I'm just like, man, people are so horrible. Why? I hate this place. I think it was just due to, it was like, this is my moment of me being the volcano of erupting finally, like Mount Tarawera one day. Better watch out. No, but you know, like, just that dormant volcano that everyone just takes advantage of, whether it be with selfies or samples, you know what I mean? Like, you just, I felt like that. And one day you're going to erupt. And this was that moment. But also, I was in a dark place where I was like, murder was on my mind. Suicide was not enough. It was heaps. And then I got to a point where I was like, where's my ancestors? You know, like, far out, on the real, if my ancestors were really there for me, then why? They should know for a fact that I was innocent most of these times. And so I was at that dead end cul-de-sac of thinking. And so my thing was, what the heck created all of this anyway? I don't need 100, what are they called, gods? Whatever the frick. I don't need this. I got one. Oh man, like, well, okay, what about God? The God, you know? Why the heck would he create such a thing? And then I was trying to think about all these, like, other beliefs in gods and stuff that everyone believes in, and I was just saying, nah, you know what? I don't know. Well, I want the top to the top. I want the top, man. And so I cried out. I was like, this is all I've got. I don't even know what I'm crying to, but I know that I don't want to get close to any of these elephant heads and 100 human arms kind of thing, even if they are real or not. I don't want to get close to that. That's not my image. It's not my vibe. I'm still cool, but I wanted to know if it was real. And so I said, I just said, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even know if there's a special way to do this. But I know that top, there can't be any other. It can't be. It just doesn't seem logically right to me. But, okay, let's say God of existence, that thing, your name might not even be God, whatever. I don't know, but I was so genuine and sincere in my heart about it, you know. And so I cried out, and I was just like at a breaking point of, man, are you real? Like, like, just, are you real? And amongst all that blubbering mess, And he spoke to me and he just said to me, you need to choose now. And he pointed up at the sky, and like, no kid, I saw like a black cloud form on this side and a white cloud on this, and the blue sky was at the back. And he said, you are here, and pointed at the blue strip. And I was just like, okay, if he's telling me I need to choose now, and now that I know he's real, oh crap, man, like then he's gonna know how I'm feeling and thinking right now. Oh my gosh, and then he knows everything about me because he's real. Just the fact that he was real is what made me think I need to be truthful when I answer this. Okay, am I serious about okay, I need to choose now. But somehow my spirit knew what he was saying, but physically I was just like so scared. It felt more real than what I was dealing with here, but my spirit was so infused with the love. Like I knew for a fact that he loved me. Hey. And yet, but my reality was, it was so like in my face more, but it also hurt me. So my reality was not only more real, but more hurtful. And yet, over here, someone that I felt, I don't think I'd ever felt that love before. And that's what made me choose him. Yeah, so 5th of June was when I went to court, and then Judge Bidway ended up giving me all of that stuff and all of that. And so 5th of June is what I've got on my testimony on Facebook, because that day is a special day to me. Is when it's kind of like I left the wilderness and I started to walk into the light. So from 2009 to 2019, I lived a very good life. I ended up going back to Tauranga. I'd served all my time at my auntie's house. She's just like an angel. Like honestly, she's amazing, and she's been in a wheelchair. She's paralyzed from the chest down. She's been like that for years, and she was the first person in my life to ever introduce to me love, what it felt like to be loved. And regardless of what my family might think and go, oh, we've loved you. Nah, like I'm an adult. I'm 37 years old now. Like, damn, I know what it means to be loved, and so do my children. So I stayed with her. And by the end of the year, what's really cool is that I write a lot. So I like writing. I don't know whether it's called a journalist or whatever, but however, I like writing. And so my relationship with God was like actually pretty cool. And every night I'll dream. I have prophetic dreams. I had dreams about the earthquakes and everything. And I wrote all these things down once I woke up. And those big A5 size calendar diaries, and they got the tiny lines. I've got that. It's in my room, but I've got that. Yeah, I ended up running ministries and teaching classes, ended up becoming an ambassador for Faith Bible College in Tauranga. Yeah, because I went there as well, and they love me. They actually became my spiritual covering, and they realized that, yep, she's one of those ones. She's one of those ones that she gonna look like she ain't she's not down with it, or she's not even walking right. But yeah, nah, they have my back, and they still got my back no matter what. So when I started running ministry online, I think I had nearly like a good 50,000 in just the group. And I'm teaching every single week. I'm teaching how to walk with God, how to not let the religious spirit of tradition and religion get self-righteously off, because When you're too self-righteous and you're too religious, you know, there's no room for love. You can't have a loving relationship, and then there's no freedom, and then tamia. So, you know, like I love doing that. You know, like it's something that I still personally love doing. And then I started doing conferences. I've done conferences like all across Australia, all across Aotearoa, and it was so amazing to the point where there were people being healed from these conferences. And at one church in Melbourne, you know, there were like 3,000 people came, and that church was only a congregation of 200, and 1,500 people were saved, you know, and it was amazing. But it also came with a hard word, you know, like he would speak through me to others, which was usually the leaders. And no leader likes to be told what's up from a stranger, or, you know, but you can't deny the word, you know what I mean? It's too powerful. And the truth is truth. I chose to stand myself down from ministry because I was letting it affect me. And the online ministry that I was running, you know, they were like, no, you're fine. Look, honestly, it doesn't matter. We believe in you, Angel. And I was like, I know that, but I'm genuinely saying I'm starting to not like Christians, because in my eyes, yeah, all that stuff came about after. But however, I need to stand down, so I stood myself down, and it was probably the most hardest things to do. You know, like I could have fought back and just carried on and stuff, but it was genuinely hurting me. And I was sitting there thinking, "Fuck, you're lucky I'm not freaking still," you know, rolling around like a gangster anymore. Like, but I couldn't do that either because it was exhausting. So anyway, I left that for a few years and ended up coming back to Aotearoa in 2018 to remove family out of my house out at the farm in Rotorua. Not long after that, there was a murder at my home, and then not long, a month or two after that, a younger sis of ours committed suicide while I just basically finished talking on the phone with her. And next thing you know, I'm actually living back in Rotorua because I was just getting caught up in everything. So 2019 was a very hard year. And then I chose to relapse on meth. And my friends and like they're all in the mob and that, but you know, like we all just, you know, like I love them no matter what. But you know, I'm sitting there like, I want to puff. I don't care, and because everyone already knew that I was dealing with a lot, and I'd been gone for a few years, you know, doing good for myself, and then you know, a lot of my friends are like, nah, come on, man, you haven't touched it for 10 years, and I go, yeah, but I know it's the only thing that is gonna give me a break from all my emotions. I am so emotionally distraught right now. Therapy ain't gonna work. Like, I don't do that. So anyway, I chose to smoke, and amongst all that time, it was, you know, from my aunties, from the murder at my farm, no one giving a crap because, you know, like that was my farm, that was my house, my kids' homestead, my whenua that I grew up on all my life. No one was caring about that. And then there was more death in our hood. It's like dominoes. And then my nan's coming over and I'm happy to see her, and I'm like, you're looking sick. And then she finally tells me she's got bone marrow cancer. And I'm like, what? So I'm smoking more drugs. And then a couple of weeks, you know, it was like a month after that, my uncle, who's in the Mangum mob, you know, like because I see him and I'm like, I'm going to look after you. You're going to stay with me now because you're God, you're getting old and so little, and oh my gosh, you're so gangster. Come on, you come home. So he always stayed with me every day up on our farm. And then he tells me he's got like months to live, and I'm like, what? So two people that kind of meant, that meant a lot to me were on the thing of dying. So I'm like, what the heck? And then next thing you know, my nan dies. And then 3 weeks after that, my uncle dies. And then a month and a half after that, now this is all within a 9-month period of 2000 since January. And the last thing to top it off was my little boy being taken off me. Out of spite from my aunties, who I evicted out of my home, went into the police station and stated that I brutally beat my kid. And so that all of that caused me to relapse. And so I'm smoking every day. I'm just doing it to get through. I'm not doing it to get involved. It was different. And so, and then next thing you know, I'm going to court trying to get my son back. But luckily I gave him to my parents. I quickly moved into my parents. So there's no way Sif's getting my kids, and this needs to be like sorted, because it's so bad. And make it worse is that the things that they said in the statement was just, it made me look like I was like wanting to kill my children. And that's all I've ever known, is to be a mum, really, regardless of the situations and whatever life can bring and all of that. It was like out of spite, just because I evicted them out of my home. They wrote a bold state. They just went into the police station, and the day they chose to do it was the day that my nan died. And so I started having to go to court to fight for my son, and then came December the 21st, the day before my birthday, was the date of, my trial or whatever. And after all the amazing things that I've done since I changed my life around in 2009, all the conferences I held, all the life coaching I've done, the thousands of, I've seen over 50,000 people change their lives around just from reading my testimony. From staying out of court for 10 years, I still lost. And I had so much hate towards my auntie. I was already used to my family not being there, because they always thought, oh, she's pretty, she gets what she wants anyway. But it was never really like that. And so my little boy had to stay at my parents', and I wasn't allowed contact with him to even explain to him why. And then, all I knew was, and then next thing you know, I ended up still having my little girl. And next thing you know, we're homeless. We're homeless, and I've got my car and my daughter and clothes, and that's all we had. And had a few friends help me out with us staying there, here and there. But I knew what I had to do. I needed to get out of Rotorua. Me and my daughter, I borrowed like 50 bucks for gas off a friend, and we just jumped in the car and we drove to Papatoetoe. And I was just like, so this is it. My gosh, I didn't even have a bed, didn't have anything. And we just had our clothes and blankets in the car. And that was it, and then that was I knew that was my channel to get away from the meth, and actually refocus and realign myself, and man, sort of go and hold God's hand again, because it was hard, having to deal with all of that and not expecting it, not even realizing not realizing it was about to happen like that, and so and then it was, and at the same time I'm still doing social media, but people were following my journeys in there, in all of this, and that was the hardest thing ever. Anyway, just so me and my daughter, we start settling back in. Maya, we settle back in. We just settling, gaining our stability again, and it took a lot of time for us to get there, but we got there eventually. And I'm starting my real estate license study in 2.5 weeks now. Yeah. And I had to do a reading, writing, and numerology test, and no kid, I failed on my reading. And I was so sad, because I knew my reading's it can be quite bad, but I just said to the lady at Unitech, I said, just give me a chance, I can do this. And just from me asking so much, they gave me a chance, and now so now I start soon. The number one thing I can say is don't give up on yourself. And the next thing is your surroundings do matter. And just also know that you're missing out on nothing out there. There's nothing out there. If you're losing your life from going out there so much, trying to find your life, it's not the right way. Yeah, just know that your surroundings do matter, and just, if you really want to change your life and actually go somewhere with yourself, and maybe try and start on the goals and dreams that you do have, you have to be willing to make sacrificial decisions, meaning could be friends, family, environments, habits, whatever. You've got to be willing to do those kind of things. And then I say that Aotearoa is my home, but the world is my oyster. So deep talk is real talk.